Most people think you need millions to live like the ultra rich, going to the nicest restaurants, having luxury travel experiences, living in the best areas, sending your kids to the best schools, having a maid, having a chef, having a private driver, and that is a myth. In fact, I've been able to build my own lifestyle that looks almost identical to an ultra rich person's lifestyle. And for the intents and purposes of this video, I would say an ultra rich person is over $100 million for a fraction of that price. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how I have done that. So, like I was saying, most people think that you need to have millions in the bank, you need to have 50 million, you may even need to be a billionaire to live this lifestyle. And the truth is, it really comes down to three basic things that I am going to share with you right now. And that is strategy, that is location, and that is information. So, when it comes to strategy, obviously, we are talking about location arbitrage. So, for example, I come from the United States originally. I was living in San Diego. My rent at the time for a little tiny shoebox, well, not exactly little tiny, but it was extremely high for what I was getting. Whereas with the same amount of rent that I was paying in San Diego, I don't remember if I was living in La Jolla at the time or Little Italy. It doesn't particularly matter. But with that exact same amount of money, I was able to buy not one, not two, not three, but four different places across the world. And I shouldn't say buy because I was actually renting these places, but the same amount of rent I was putting in towards my place in San Diego, I could get a place in Bangkok. I could get a place on a little island in Thailand. I also got a place in Spain at the time, and then I also had a place in Colombia at the time, but that place also switched between Colombia and Mexico. Not super important for the purpose of the video. But in all four of these places, I was living in some of the nicest areas. Some of these places even were in gated communities, and I was able to go to the nicest restaurants because even though I had four different places, I was still saving money in comparison to when I lived in San Diego. We won't even get into the tax benefits of all of this, but the point remains, in San Diego, I was an average dude. I had a high income, but I was spending a lot of money because it's San Diego. You have to spend a lot of money in order to live even an average life in San Diego. Whereas for a fraction of that money, I could have just went to, let's go with Thailand, instead of getting four different places, and lived like a king in Thailand with a super nice house or super nice condo, and it would have been a fraction of the cost. And once again, with the savings from living in San Diego to living in the nicest part of Bangkok with access to the nicest restaurants, I could afford to have a live-in maid, to have a chef, to get daily massages, and to generally live my best life. And the reason I mentioned that I actually have four different homes is because that is like an ultra rich person. And I do not have $100 million. Let me tell you that. Now, yes, an ultra rich person like a billionaire could have a yacht, which obviously I cannot afford. When I say a yacht, I'm talking a mega yacht, not one of those little baby yachts. I'm talking the big boys, the ones the billionaires have, the oligarchs, the oil money kind of yachts, if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I don't have access to that, but I have, as they say in France, a pied de terre. Probably butchered that, but it's okay. And you know how, like, the people in New York have, like, the Hamptons house, have the Lower Manhattan house, have the, I don't even know what other parts of New York there are. But that is the ultra rich lifestyle. And virtually anyone watching this and understanding what I am saying can live the same lifestyle through the power of location arbitrage. And something I'd even mention, let's say you go from New York, where you're paying 3 grand for a tiny little shoebox, to Bangkok, where you're paying 1 grand for the nicest place in the nicest building in the nicest area. With that savings, not only can you get a maid, a chef, a private driver, daily massages, all that good stuff. And if you have kids, you could send them to the best schools and yada, yada, yada. You could use the difference to put more money into savings, more money into investments, more money into retirement, or you could just upgrade your quality of life by getting business class flights or first class flights. Shoot, you may even be able to start going to the nicest spas, the nicest gyms, join the nicest golf club if that's something that interests you. So you are really getting the creme de la creme of everything in life. The options and possibilities are endless. Now, the big caveat here, and which is why I said if you understand what I'm saying, which means you are most likely from an English speaking country and you have access to the internet, you need to be able to have a location independent income. Whether this is from a freelancing job, whether this is from a work from home job that allows you to live in a different country, or whether it is starting your own online business, you need to do something in order to make it possible for you to actually live a geo arbitrage type lifestyle. And I got fortunate because I was living in San Diego because I did geo arbitrage my business. Originally, I was living in Portland, Oregon, and I was in real estate. Eventually, someone asked me to do some real estate marketing for them. And I said, look, I don't need to actually physically be in Portland in order to do this. In fact, that person referred me clients on the other side of the country, and I said, look, I'm doing this for the people you referred to me on the other side of the country. Why should I even be here? And the guy said, yeah, you're right. You don't need to be here. And I went to San Diego, and we would have something like a weekly Zoom meeting. And then from there, I started taking trips and vacations to other parts of the world and doing the same thing. And then the flip switch, I was like, hey, why am I paying this much in San Diego when I could pay a fraction and live in Thailand or Spain or somewhere else and reduce my cost of living and increase my quality of life? And inevitably, what people are going to say here is, oh, but so many people leave XYZ country to go to another country. Yes, a lot of people go from other countries to the United States, for example, for economic opportunities. Or a lot of people go from a place like Greece to Germany or Poland for economic opportunities. However, if you do not need those economic opportunities, there is no reason for you to be in those places. For example, a lot of people go from Greece to other parts of Europe for the economic opportunities. But once those people make money, they go back because the lifestyle in Greece is way better than the lifestyle in Germany or Poland or some of these other countries. But once again, this all is dependent upon the fact that you start earning an online income. Now, my personal favorite way for any of you to earn an online income is through a knowledge based personal brand, which is simply a fancy way of saying you need to sell your knowledge online because there is something you have in this brain that someone else is willing to pay for, likely willing to pay a lot of money for. And if you want a resource to help you do that, check out the description below. Obviously, that's not the only way. There's tons of different ways. I think it's the best way and the easiest way to get started. It puts you in control of your own income. You can't get fired, but it is not easy, and you are definitely going to have to work hard. Now, with all that said, we are going to wrap up the video here. In summary, in order to live the ultra rich lifestyle for a fraction of the cost, one, you need to either have passive income or you need to have an active income that allows you to geo arbitrage your lifestyle. So, step one is to make money online or in a location independent manner in some way or fashion. Step two is obviously to move to a place where your money goes much further than wherever you are currently living, unless you happen to be living in one of these places that I have mentioned. You have the whole of Southeast Asia for the most part, a lot of Latin America. You have some parts of Europe, especially a place like Greece. You could even say Spain, Portugal, Italy, although a lot of those places have increasing costs. Some would probably argue you could put places like in the central eastern part of Europe. So you're talking Warsaw, you're talking Prague, or I guess in country terms, Czech Republic, you're checking Poland, you're checking Albania, probably Romania, Estonia, Latvia, Hungary, and probably a few other places, but be warned, those places are going to be much more expensive than most of Southeast Asia, where you can live this lifestyle for pennies on the dollar in comparison to places like London, Paris, New York, and so on and so forth. And then once you have the income and you have chosen a location, final step is implementation, which is putting this strategy into work. And like I said before, there are only three things you need: strategy, location, and information. This was the information bit. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you work towards living your dream life. And I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, peace, much love.